Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 411. Today we're going to talk about Mage Wars Academy. Now this is kind of like Mage Wars or Mage Wars Arena as it's now known, but as you can see it comes in a very small box. It's a standalone game. You can use cards from this game in Mage Wars Arena, but you can't use cards from Mage Wars Arena back into this. So this is sort of a light introductory version of Mage Wars. So if you don't know what Mage Wars is, there's a ton of videos about it, but basically it's two mages battling in this big arena. You summon creatures, cast spells, use weapons, all kinds of stuff, and smash each other in the face until one of you is left standing. This is the same idea, but there's no board. It's just sort of like, you know, Magic the Gathering or any kind of head-to-head battle game where you just have cards on the table and you just fight until one of you is quote-unquote dead or knocked out. So let's jump into how the game works and I'll tell you what I think. So the story behind Mage Wars Academy is two mages that are in the academy, they're in the school, they're what the game calls an academy mage, are going to do sort of combat in front of their teachers and sort of a practice setting. Now here we can see all the components that you're going to get in the game. You get 2 spell books, you get 2 dials for tracking mana and health, you get a whole mess of tokens and dice. Now some of the dice and things might look a little bit different when you actually get these in the stores. The rulebook actually has the dice as black, but these are sort of these translucent red/orange dice. So I'm not sure what the dice will actually look like in the box that you get, but I think pretty much everything else is going to look the same. Now there's 2 mages that come in the box. One is the Beastmaster, and you can see similar to the mages in the original Mage Wars, you've got sort of an avatar card on the left with a card on the right that has some different statistics and some different special abilities that they have and some more information. And here we can see the other mage, which is the Wizard. So it's Wizard versus Beastmaster in this particular set. And here we can see a close-up of the different dials. Each player will get a dial of their own to track mana and damage. And I'm going to go ahead and display everything here on this player mat. The player mat definitely does not come in the box, but they were giving these away at Gen Con. And I believe you'll be able to get these at some point from their website or somewhere. So using the play mat, I can better organize the cards. You can see we're going to go ahead and put down the ability card as well as our avatar for our Beastmaster in these particular slots. And these form basically 2 rows. You'll have the bottom row with the ability card and any cards that go into the discard pile. And then next to the ability card, you're going to put any equipment card. And these are going to change your mage's stats, give them new attacks, different abilities, and so on. And then in the top row next to your mage card, this is where you're going to summon creatures and put them there for attacking and defense and guarding your mage and so on. Also on the mage card, each player is going to get this quick action token, and this allows the mage to actually take 2 actions. They can take their full action as well as cast a quick spell. And when you do that, you just flip this over to show the use side. Now you can see here a quick turn breakdown. You have a quick reset phase, an upkeep phase, which might have some different abilities, like maybe one of your creatures is bleeding, so you've got to give it a damage, or it's got some kind of buff on it that allows it to heal a damage every turn. And then you're going to move into the action phase, reactivating everybody. So the first thing you're going to do every turn is pass the initiative token. That's basically the first player for that round. And then you're going to reset all of the creatures. So during the course of a turn, when you activate a creature or the mage, you're going to rotate or exhaust or tap that particular card, and their action will be used for that turn. At the beginning of each turn, then you're going to reset them back to their upright position. And then finally, you're going to take a look here at the stat card for your particular mage. And there's a few things to note here. You've got the spellbook points, the life, but specifically I want to look at the channeling. In this case, we have a channeling of 7, so that means every round during this phase, we're going to get 7 more mana. So the game structure is very simple. You activate whatever creatures you have, and then you reset, and you untap everybody, and get a little bit of mana back, and then you just keep going at it until one of the mages is dead. So let's go a quick breakdown of the cards. If you've played Mage Wars, you could almost probably just skip the rest of this walkthrough because it's basically as if both mages were in the same zone and there's not any really ranged attacks or anything like that. Now there are ranged abilities on some of the cards, but it doesn't matter in this because it's all in the same zone, quote unquote. But if you take that card and then you use it in the Mage Wars, then some of those other different icons and things that aren't used in this game become active, and then they do matter. So let's take a quick look at this Winchwood Iron Vine. It's a belt that the mage can equip. You can see in the upper left it costs 5 mana to use. It's actually a quick cast, so you can see the little lightning bolt. That means it's a quick spell that you can cast. And then it has a range of 0 to 2. Again, the range never matters in this game, so you can just ignore that. And then on the right hand side, you can see it's a nature level 1, and there are some rules for deck building. You'll have different spells that belong to different schools, and depending on which mage you are putting the book in for, they're going to cost you actually different numbers of points. Then of course it has a special ability. In this case it gives you an armor +1 and then the regenerate 1. And again, regenerate, it's going to happen during upkeep. You get 1 life back during the upkeep. Now if we take a look at this leopard here, Raja the Jungle's Talon, he costs a little bit more mana to get out. He costs 11 mana, and you can see he's actually a level 3 nature. And instead of it being a quick spell, you'll notice the little hourglass next to the 11. That means it's a full action. And then each of the creatures is going to have some other stats similar to the mage. So you can see this actually has an attack that'll allow them to roll 4 dice, and it has piercing +1, which means it ignores 1 level of armor. And then it actually has armor itself. You can see it's got on the right, it's got a armor of 1 with a health of 11. And when you activate a creature to use its attack, you'll go ahead and roll the specified number of dice. And you can see here's 2 different types of number on the dice. You've got the numbers in the bursts as well as just the straight 2. Now the numbers in the bursts actually ignore armor, so even if somebody has armor, this is going to go right through. And then you're going to add up all of the numbers that aren't in bursts, reduce the number by the number of armor they have, and then apply that much damage to the creature or the mage if you're attacking them directly. Now why wouldn't I just attack the mage every single time? Well, you can actually, as an action for one of your creatures, use its action and then place a guard token on it, and that means that your opponent has to attack that creature first before going after your mage. Now guard has the bonus ability of also giving that creature counter strike. Some creatures have that keyword special ability on them to counter strike, where they can actually fight back if they lived through the attack and then do damage back to whoever attacked them. And guard actually gives them that ability on top of being sort of like taunting the other creatures away from your mage or the other creatures. Now just real quickly, I want to go over a couple other things. There are some different types of spells. Here we can see this lightning jolt. This is a direct attack that your mage can cast, so you can see you can roll 3 dice. Plus you also roll a d12, and on a 5 or higher, it'll actually apply the condition of stagger. And there are many tokens in the game for different conditions, which is one of the cool parts of the game. Now you've also got enchantments, which you can cast on your creatures or your opponent's creatures. And you always cast these for 2 mana face down, and then you go to activate them when it's appropriate. In this case, this will actually give the creature that you attach it to Badger Frenzy, which is basically double strike, allows them to attack twice. And then you've also got incantations. In this case, this one actually will destroy a target enchantment and remove it off of a creature. So if I gave my creature Badger Frenzy, you might cast Disperse later on your turn to get rid of it. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of the game. As you can see, it's a very simple core. You get some mana every turn, cast some spells, get some creatures out there, gives you more actions and abilities that you can do on your turn, get some cool equipment out there. One thing to note is the first 2 rounds that you do things, you can't do anything directly harmful to your opponent, so it's kind of like a little bit of a preparatory phase. Since you are right there sort of in that same zone, it kind of prevents you from just beating the crap out of each other right away, and getting some equipment out and getting a creature or 2 out there to kind of guard you and stuff, get a little bit of preparation, but that goes quickly and then you're right in each other's face. And that's really what Mage Wars as a whole, whether it's Academy or Arena or what, it gives you just that feeling of just jumping right into the battle. You're not like setting up a deck of combos and doing all that kind of stuff. Now there are combos that you can do, but it's not like tricksy combos, or it's not like mechanically tricksy. You can play around with the different abilities, and it always feels very visceral to me and almost very real in a lot of ways, where you've got different creatures and they behave differently, and the different spells and everything, it's just the behavior and everything just really comes through the game. And this has that. You're jumped in, you've got it, and then away you go and you're wailing on it. And I think from the standpoint, if you have not tried or didn't like the original Mage Wars, this is kind of your shot to get in and give this a shot, because it's going to play very quickly, about a half an hour tops. Once you kind of learn, the game is going to go really quickly, because it's like, okay, attack you, boom, okay, now you go, now I go, now you go, okay, reset, get some mana, boom, 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 back and forth. And so it's very quick to get into, but like I said, it's also very visceral. Because it's quick to get into, you're going to get into, the theme of it. It's just really going to come through, and I would be surprised if it didn't, frankly. Now, as a Mage Wars player, I really enjoy Mage Wars. I think it was like my 25th top game in my top 100, right in the 20s somewhere. A game I really enjoy. I have everything for it. And I have to say, my favorite way to play is Battlegrounds, for sure. The domination, the Battlegrounds, I love that. It's probably a little bit more tactically complex for sure than Academy, and maybe even more than just basic Mage Wars, but it adds a lot of really cool stuff. Now, I think if you're not into Mage Wars, though, like I said, this is the one to get. For me, having played a couple of games of this, it's almost like I wish there was more, because it's only the 2 mages. And it's really fun and cool, but then I'm like, okay, well, where's the priest, and where's the, the druid, and the warlock, and all that stuff? I want all that cool stuff too. And, this is just the wizard and the beastmaster, and then that's it. They do give you a fair chunk of cards to sort of, experiment with, and the spell books that they give you for the starting spell books are different enough that you can kind of, take different tacks and things, and the games are quick enough that you can try different stuff quickly. So there's a great amount of replayability in this, but as sort of, I think it's because I'm sort of a Mage Wars veteran, if you will, then this feels like it's a little bit light. But in the back of my mind, I know that's not really correct, because this is a much cheaper price point, and it's very much marketed and presented as an introductory product. So I think for that, like I said, if you're coming in it fresh, you didn't like Mage Wars maybe, this is the one to get. You're not in for that great of an investment in terms of play time and cost and all that stuff and setup. You're going to be able to get in and get right at the core of what makes Mage Wars a lot of fun, is smashing each other over the head. Now, I would be really surprised if they don't expand it. So you could get this, play several games of it, and then, you can kind of put it on the shelf and then wait for the new stuff to come out. Or maybe it gives you more interested in, feels a little bit more comfortable. You want to try the bigger arena and stuff, which I would recommend. And you can take the cards and use it in arena, like they say. But I'd really like to see 4 or 6 more mages for this, just to really get in there and deck build and spellbook build and really have a lot of fun. But once you have that, and I would expect that to happen, once you have 6 or 8 mages that you can choose from, then and then lots of supplementary cards that you can add to your pre-existing mages, you're going to have, I think a ton of game there, frankly. So I don't know that this would ever sort of overtake my arena stuff, because you kind of lose sort of the positioning and stuff. I don't know. I mean, it kind of might. I don't want to completely sell it short, because, like I said, it has that, but it's just, this is kind of like your entry level, like your appetizer. So to me, I still like the other Mage Wars better, because that's definitely your full course meal. So I would definitely take a look at it. The one thing I wanted to leave with was, it would be nice, because all of the cards in here are like level 1 and level 2 cards. It would be pretty cool if they would say, okay, hey, if you have Mage Wars Arena, then you can take these level 1 and level 2 cards, pull them back in to Academy. That would be cool, because I think marketing wise, I mean, I don't know, I'm not an expert in this kind of stuff, but that would get people to buy Arena, even if they just wanted to play Arena stuff in Academy. The reason you can't use like level 3s and 4 cards is because they're too powerful. It's like, okay, I do the one that makes you roll like 8 dice, the giant boulder or whatever, and then, okay, you're halfway dead in turn 3. So you can't have the really powerful cards, because, like I said, everybody's in the same zone, and you just be like, I come in and I cast a meteor, like, they're not going to allow that in school, right? All right, so, but it would be cool if they could kind of break that down, so those of us that did have it could like, oh, cool, I can use my priestess now, or my druid, and then I can throw it in there. I don't know if the mages would be balanced necessarily, but you could at least throw the cards in there, and maybe you'd say, okay, you can't use any of your mages' special abilities except you can use their attack or something. That would be cool. I think they could do that, and I think that would be an okay thing to do. But new to Mage Wars, definitely get it. I think you're gonna have a really, really fun time with it. So, okay, thanks.